because the field of the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. And therefore, whatever God puts into the earth belongs to God. And Jesus is saying the sower goes forth to sow the seed. The seed is the Word. Who's the Word? Jesus. So God came forth to sow into the world Jesus. How did He do it? John 12, Jesus said, unless the seed of corn goes into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it goes into the ground and dies, it brings forth much fruit. If God's going to bring forth much fruit on the earth, He chose not to do it by tanks and guns, but to do it by putting Jesus in the ground.
Yes, my God.
You hear that? When Jesus gives the parable of the sower, He's giving a prophetic vision of a Jesus cast forth into the earth by God, the ultimate sower. And the Jesus cast into the earth lands on, here's how we always say that the word goes out and lands on 4 types of ground. And so all of you in this place tonight are 4 types of people. This is how we preach this. All of you in this place tonight are one of 4 types of people. Now, let me step back here and pull the curtain back on us preachers for a minute. Because what we've done with this message is we've used the parable of the sower to mask all kinds of stupidity in the pulpit.
Yes.
We can get up here and say anything we want because we're the sower and this is the word.
Yes.
And so whatever foolishness I spew out, if you like it, you're good ground.
Right. Yes. Come on now.
If you don't like it, you're probably thorny ground or stony ground or you're devil-possessed ground. So whatever ignorance I come up with and slap at least one verse on it, I'm preaching the word. I can sit home all week long and watch Fox News and CNN and take notes and get up here with PowerPoint slides, illustrations, and stories about Russia, the United States, the Democrats, the Republicans, legislation in the Congress and the Senate, what's happening in the Supreme Court, slap a verse on it, here a verse, there a verse, anywhere a verse, doesn't matter where it is, as long as it's in the King James Version of the Bible.
That's right.
Slap a verse on it, call myself the sower, it the word, and you the ground, and guess who loses in the sermon? You, because if you don't like it, you're the wrong ground. I'm always right because I'm the sower, it's the word, get lined up. Fix yourself. You get to the end of the sermon, you go, if you got a problem with this, bless God, it's probably because you're thorny ground, or it's probably because the devil's been feeding in your garden, or it's probably, man, I've preached all that stuff. I've been Mr. Sowing of seed, and the seed's the word, whatever sermon I preach. And I missed that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and He was in the beginning with God, and He was made flesh. And so if Jesus then turns and says, hey, Paul, the sower that sows the Word is the seed, you don't get to claim to be the sower,
Yes.
and you don't get to claim that whatever foolishness comes out of your mouth is the Word.
Yes.
So when Jesus gives the parable of the sower, He is introducing the world to not the concept. He's introducing the world to the reality that Jesus, hear me on this, hits every soil known to man.
Yes.
And God did it.
Yes.
When God puts Jesus into the ground, and the seed of corn must go into the ground and die, when He throws Jesus at the earth, He misses no ground.
Right.
He hits wayside, rocky ground, thorny ground, fertile ground. Jesus has covered the field.
Yes.
It is not my job to cover the field. Jesus covered the field. The parable of the sower is a father who wants a crop badly enough to plant the best seed he has into the ground. And the best seed that God has is not a clever sermon by me. The best seed that God has is His Son.
Yes.
God wrapped in human flesh, and the Logos, the meaning of existence, became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld His glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth, because the Logos is the very grace, the very truth, the very essence of God. And if you want to see what it looked like, look at Jesus. And when you look at Jesus, you see God. And when you see God, you look at Jesus. And that circle just keeps going and going. And God, wanting you and I to feast on His Jesus, cast His Jesus into the earth.
Yes.
And Jesus says, so the sower casts his seed, and the seed is the Word.